Good evening, everyone. I'm Nick Toma.
And I'm Christie. Nick's a very busy night in the state line tonight with severe weather rolling through. We had heavy downpours, strong winds, and some tornadoes popping up.
Even some hail to boot. Let's get out to our reporter, Josh Vizina. He is in Ogle County tonight. He is in Fairdale, and he's into, it looks like he's seen some severe damage down there. Josh, what do you have?
Right now.
Yeah, obviously the technical issues there right off the bat. Let's get to Candace. I know she's been the busiest weathercaster in town tonight following the storm. And Candace, what's the latest? It looks like things have calmed down a little bit here in Rockford.
100%. We have actually seen things kind of calm down here as we go throughout this evening. We had those strong thunderstorms as they came through. Tornado watch came out initially west of Rockford for Stevenson, Joe Davis, Carroll, and Whiteside counties shortly after 1 o'clock this afternoon. Within an hour or so, that watch had been extended further to the east, and within a few hours after that is when we started to get those thunderstorms to fire up. They were very slow to develop. We had a few thunderstorms fire up out ahead of this, non-severe, but the situation turned severe very quickly as what developed out in eastern Iowa with a cold front and low pressure system, as that began to push closer to us. We actually had thunderstorms interact with a warm front across northern Illinois, which quickly allowed them to rotate. Now, for many days, we had been warning that this day would potentially be a very significant impact day, and that indeed it was. All clear now. What's left are with showers and thunderstorms as these pull through McHenry County, but it was this line that came up about 5, 6, 7 o'clock, started out in Ashton. In fact, we started to get rotation just to the west of Ashton and Franklin Grove when we first started to get the reports of the tornado that came down. That storm then stayed on the ground for a very long distance, hitting up through Hillcrest, Flag Center. Rochelle is one of the hardest hit areas across northern Illinois. Josh, who we tried to go out to, is in Fairdale, which is right along 72, just east of Monroe Center near the Ogle-DeKalb County line. That is another area that was hit, along with Kirkland right along 72. This thunderstorm initiated supercell thunderstorm, quickly turned tornadic as it pulled up to the northeast. Now we've got that clear threat going on as we head through the evening. I shouldn't even say threat. Now we are clearing out, so that threat is going down. Still a tornado watch out, but I have a feeling that is going to be canceled, and in fact that is canceled. So we've got the all clear as those storms came through. I know we got many pictures that have come in from that as well as many videos too. Weather at WTVO.com is where you want to send those in, and I believe we are going to try to go to some of those pictures and those videos as well. Nick and Christie?
Some of our viewers were nice enough to send us some pictures, some eyewitness accounts, and again, if you have some of them, you can go to our Facebook page, Facebook My Eyewitness News. I believe this is the one that went to through Rochelle, right?
Right.
Now,
you can see how huge that is. Candace, you were saying this tornado is so large. Do you have any approximation of what kind of size tornado this might be, just from looking at it?
You know, it's kind of hard to gauge as far as you know, the strength of tornado by looking at it, but this is one of the biggest tornadoes that I have seen in this area. I know we've had an EF2 and EF3 in the past years. Those have come through off years. The Weather Service will be out here probably tomorrow to do damage surveys. This has got to be at least an EF2 or an EF3. Just looking at it for the size, but they will compare it to the damage as well, and this was the one in Rochelle.
Candace, does it make you wonder if we had gotten that daytime heating in the afternoon like we thought we might, how much worse some of these tornadoes may have been? You
know, a lot of these thunderstorms and the severe weather really popped up in areas that cleared out more so south of here. I mean, we really saw that clearing take place. And this was kind of in an area where we had low pressure, we had a lot of spinning in the atmosphere. You know, a big kind of saving grace for us in Rockford was the fact that we were still cloudy out here.
All right, Candace, thanks so much for that. We'll obviously check back with you here in just a few minutes, but now we want to get on out to Josh Vizina. He is live in Fairdale. As Candace mentioned, that's one of the hardest hit areas tonight. And Josh, what can you tell us from the scene where you're at in Fairdale? Obviously a lot of destruction, I'm sure, that you are seeing out there at this point.
Yeah, Christy, you know, it's a surreal scene out here right now. There are rescue crews and there's people all over the place. You're looking right now at a house that is completely destroyed from that tornado that ripped through. If we keep walking down here, it's just a line of houses down, debris, trees down. But like I said, there are a lot of people out here. There are a lot of rescue crews. There's a lot of fire departments from around the area here to help out. I've talked to a few people who are just in the area, literally just to help out with this cleanup. But it is definitely a surreal scene right now.
Josh, if you can hear us, I know they're probably trying to see if anybody is underneath the rubble there in some of those homes that got destroyed. Do you see anything like search dogs?
I have not. No, I have not seen any search dogs yet. But you know, I spoke with with the fighter not too long ago. They are still in the early stages of this right now. He was able to tell me he doesn't know how many people, but there are some injuries. As of right now, he did not know if there were any fatalities, so that's a good sign as of right now. And it's unknown right now how many houses were affected. But, you know, we'll be out here for a while, and we'll try to get as much information as we can and relay that when we get it. But for now, live in Kirkland, Josh Vizina, Eyewitness News. Thank you, Christie. Back to you.
All right, and Josh, again, we're seeing so much debris around there, looking like houses, trees down and everything. Have you talked to anybody who was, you know, a witness to all of this? Have you talked with people who live in this area, and what are they saying if you've gotten a chance to do that?
I did speak with someone who lives in the area. She lives not too far from where I'm at right now. She saw the tornado come through here. She said it was just ridiculous. She said it came straight down Route 72, almost as if it was following the highway and just picking up debris and throwing it everywhere. You know, her house was not affected by it, but she is one of those that are out here right now helping with this cleanup.
Josh, also, have you seen any type of a command center there? In these situations, we often see, like the Red Cross, even at this early stage, set up a command center where they can get to people who need it, food and water, and also medical attention if needed.
I have not seen the command center where I'm at right now, but I don't think it's here. I'm hearing from what I'm hearing, it's down the road. I know I heard there was one in DeKalb. I'm not sure if they're sending people from here to that one in DeKalb. But I do know that there is a command center in DeKalb right now for people who are affected. Most of the people right now are still trying to figure out, you know, what's left of their house from this.
Obviously, we're seeing a lot of flashlights. You're zooming in now on a van that looks pretty busted up. Obviously, we hope nobody was inside that at the time. But, Josh, lots of emergency responders out there, I'm guessing, from all over the area. Is that right?
Yeah. I'm not sure if they... I'm sorry, Christy, I can't hear you. Can you say that one more time?
Oh, sure. Obviously, there's a lot of emergency responders. We can see the flashing lights in the background. And can you tell us, I'm assuming all these emergency responders are from around the area?
Yes. Most of them are from around the area that I've seen. I saw Rockford. Kirkland's obviously out here. Those are the only two that I've seen as of right now. But most of the ones that I have seen are from the immediate state line area.
Now, Josh, obviously you said that there was just a line of destruction as you're looking down this street. Any idea of how many houses about are in this area that we're concerned maybe are destroyed from this tornado?
If I had to guess, from what I'm looking at least a dozen. It's really hard to tell. It's really dark. I haven't made my way deep enough yet to get through everything, but I've seen at least a dozen houses so far that have at least damage, if not have been destroyed.
If you're just joining us now, we're listening to our reporter on the scene near Fairdale, which I believe is very close to the Ogle County line there. Josh is reporting on what looks like at least 10, maybe more homes that were destroyed from a tornado that touched down earlier this evening as the result of some very bad storms that came through. And Josh, what's the sense that you're getting there? I know you said you did speak to a woman who lived nearby who witnessed the tornado. Did you get the sense that people try to take cover, as some of the warnings suggested?
I haven't really spoken to many people. She was one of the few that I had spoken with. I did speak to another gentleman whose house he was very stunned. His house was destroyed in this. He was drenched. He was soaking wet from the rain. When I pulled up, it was still raining very heavily. So they were out here in this heavy rain. But, you know, people they're just trying to pick up the pieces right now, and it's just the only word that I can describe it right now is surreal. And you know, tempers are flaring. People are getting upset over things, as you can imagine. But you know, people are they're trying to make sense of this of this devastating situation.
I'm sure they're trying just to get a grasp of everything that's going on there right now, Josh. And we understand that you spoke with somebody earlier. We want to go ahead and take that interview.
And I just think it's important to call out for people to make sure to donate money. You know, that's what the first responders are for. There's a lot of families here. We helped a lot of people out of their homes, and first responders are doing everything they can, but these people need help after the event. These people need money. They need help getting back on their feet. There's entire families that have had their entire lifestyles destroyed here. And I reach out to the viewers to help them.
And that's what we may see, you know, Christie, in the next couple of days once we kind of assess the damage. And boy, you almost hate to think of what we're going to see once we see the morning sun come up on that area.
Right. I know Josh again had mentioned there were injuries reported with this tornado that touched down in Fairdale, where he is at. Right now, again, you can see just all kinds of debris there, people wandering around trying to take in this devastation in the area, and hopefully, again, injuries reported, but so far that we know of, no fatalities.
No fatalities,
and
yeah.
hopefully it stays that way. But we do want to go through some pictures now that we've got up on the screen for you. This one is from the Rockford Fire Department. Kind of tough to see here from our angle, but it looks like something has completely smashed trees and I'm sorry, what was that again? We're communicating here with... Oh, okay, so we've got a closer look here. It just looks like a whole bunch of trees down. I'm not sure if that was a house or a shed or something at one point, but that's the scary reality of what a tornado can do right there that we just saw.
This is another picture, again, courtesy of the Rockford Fire Department. We are told, you see power lines are down. This is Grubstakers, by the way. This is the restaurant that I think Candace mentioned earlier that was damaged. It looks like pretty severely. We're told that we're saying that a couple people were trapped in there, but they did get out okay. That's
12 people
12
were trapped,
people
actually, yes.
were trapped. They were able to get out okay, and you can see, boy, it looks like at least some of the walls were standing up a little bit. Candace, is this the kind of destruction you would normally see where you get in like an EF2, maybe even an F3 tornado about this size?
Oh yeah, you know, as you get these thunderstorms and these tornadoes that come through, you know, it takes, you know, winds over 100 or so miles per hour to come through. But yeah, it's very typical of a tornado that was this size from some of the pictures. I mean, look at this. Gary sending in this photo from Rochelle. I mean, the massive extent and how wide this tornado was coming through. I mean, this is a very classic springtime setup of severe thunderstorms with those large tornadoes. And again, it'll be interesting to see just the rating with the Weather Service. They will send people out tomorrow and likely through the weekend to continue with the damage surveys, just so we can get an exact estimate. And what they'll be doing is they'll be looking at the track of the tornado. They'll be comparing it to radar data. They will be looking at the structures of the buildings that were destroyed. They also have, you know, engineers that come out with them as well, and they kind of have a chart that they look at to help give them, you know, that EF rating scale. This is from Diamond Star down in Lindenwood, and kind of the beginning of that wall cloud, Baxter Road just to the south. Danielle sending in this one too. So I mean, we at, you know, one point had multiple tornado warnings out. Initially it came out for south of Rockford around the Byron area. That then pulled up to Cherry Valley, where we had a report of a funnel cloud, and then we had that thunderstorm crossover the Mississippi River and kind of merge with another thunderstorm that really gained strength that started to the southwest. And there were reports of golf ball sized hail and larger hailstones that came out with this. Deb sending in this photo as well down near the Lost Nation area, which is in southern Ogle County. Very typical too of supercell thunderstorms. You get a lot of strength and a lot of updraft with them, and that's how you get those large hailstones, but that's also how you get those significant tornadoes.
And that was one of the reasons why you mentioned in your warnings earlier in the day to get to the lowest level of the structure that you're in.
Exactly.
Not so much for the tornadoes,
not just
as
for
the
tornadoes.
hail.
And, and you know, the very impressive thing with the setup today was these storms were moving at an incredible pace. You know, when the warnings came out, they were moving northeast 50 to 55 miles per hour. I mean, that's as fast as, you know, a lot of us drive on Highway 20. And that doesn't give you a lot of time to prepare. So it may have been one of the reasons why a lot of people were caught off guard. The storm was in one town 1 minute, and then the next one, it was in another town. So thankfully that threat is down now, but it's just a very intense and very devastating scene coming out. I mean, you look at this video, this is around the Rochelle area as the storm came through in the tornado, and just the magnitude of this. You know, you're used to seeing things like this, let's say out in the plains, you know, where they typically see things, but you know, we've had a couple tornadoes come through in the off season, 2011, as well as back in 2008, January of 2008, both in Boone County. So it's been a very long time since we've had a kind of an outbreak to this magnitude across the area, especially in the Rochelle, Fairdale, and Kirkland area, and of this size and of this strength storm.
Obviously, this was just a devastating sight really to take in when you look at the size of this tornado. And Nick and I have been researching too here on some of the power outages that we've got. And we just want to say a few numbers that ComEd has posted on their outage map. It looks like in south of Belvedere area, it looks like about 340 customers without power there. ComEd obviously working very quickly. I know the numbers have dropped some since we last checked. South of Rockford area, looks like only about 139 people or so without power. In those areas further south where we saw those tornadoes, we've got one that's got 866 people. That looks like that's south of Monroe Center area, where again, I think that tornado really went right through that area.
Generally, the further south and east we go, it seems as if that's where the most power outages are. It looks like that's where the most damage was as well.
Yeah, as that storm kind of tracked up, typical motion with these, you know, are from southwest to northeast, and that's kind of the path that we saw with this. As it started down in Ashton, and I believe this is the video from down around the Ashton area, I want to say, initially when it started, and then gaining strength as it kind of moved up northeast.
Yeah, you can see, I mean, that tornado started out fairly small there, and it looks like it really grew in size as it moved. Is that right?
Yeah, it fed into the instability. It tied in with the warm front, which really kind of enhanced the lift, which is what you need to get the rotation through the area. And again, the speed at which these thunderstorms were really starting to fire up and move was at a pretty impressive rate. So, you know, it was important to you know, heed the warnings, but, you know, if you didn't, you only had maybe a couple minutes before that tornado and before that storm came through, just because of the strength that it was going in. And that was one of the things we really tried to hit upon, was that these storms would be very fast moving, and you know, in some cases you wouldn't have much time to react. And unfortunately, you know, as that storm came through the Monroe Center, Fairdale, and then out towards Kirkland, I mean, we've seen the damage of it. That was kind of when it was at its peak before it came out to McHenry County.
All right, Candace, thank you so much, and we will continue obviously our coverage on this severe weather in just a couple minutes, but right now we'll go to break.